Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kentucky has a great opportunity to be a leader in cannabis research with the establishment of a new Kentucky Cannabis Research Center at the University of Kentucky. We have I think I should probably have the clerk report a committee sub before I go on.
Mr. Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to, House Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 604.
Lady from Kenton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This committee sub simply clarifies that there will be no impact to the performance funding model for post-secondary education at the University of Kentucky in the establishment of this provision. Move adoption.
Question for the body is on adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any debate or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. House Committee Substitute 1 is adopted. Lady from Kenton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of this legislation will be to specifically advance the study of marijuana and cannabis derivatives for the treatment of health conditions as directed by researchers and recommended by this newly established advisory board. In Section 1, Subsection 2, the mission of the center is to conduct and fund research related to cannabis and cannabis derivatives, including pharmaceutical development for the treatment of certain medical conditions and diseases. They will also conduct and fund research related to the health effects, including any risks or side effects. Really? I could go on about what this research center is, the mission of the center is, but and I do think it's important that the body understands really what we're trying to do here, and it is to research and fund the effects of cannabis. The efficacy and potential health effects of various cannabis delivery models, monitor data, and examine things like the use of combustible cannabis. The advisory board will be made up of stakeholders who are healthcare professionals and researchers into one organized and coordinated research center, a consortium of healthcare and, a consortium of Kentucky public and private universities. These researchers and stakeholders and healthcare professionals will oversee the activities of the research center, will identify the research agenda, and finance the center. The establishment of a cannabis research center here in Kentucky will greatly increase and enhance clinical trials and expedite research for the treatment of health conditions. This center will provide a coordinated effort among all R1 and other universities who currently conduct cannabis research and will allow any research entity interested in participating to apply for funding through this program. It'll strengthen UK's FDA connection for clinical approval and will bring untold, probably millions of dollars in federal funding to Kentucky for this research. The center is required to report annually to the Cabinet and to LRC by September 1 of each year on the center's activities, findings, and expenditures, and will be required to host an annual symposium and publicly disseminate the research conducted. Physicians and other healthcare providers will benefit from a greater understanding of the medicinal properties, the dosing and indications for using cannabis for the treatment of certain researched diseases and/or symptom relief for other diseases. On the other hand, patients will benefit in knowing that medical cannabis is safe and effective for their health problem and will understand any potential side effects or drug interactions. An application process will be made available to the public for those wishing to participate, and the application will be placed on the center's website. This legislation would actually align with any medicinal cannabis program should it be approved here in Kentucky. And in Section 1, subsection 8, it says, if at any time the Commonwealth establishes a medicinal cannabis program, the application to receive a medical cannabis card shall include a question asking whether or not the patient would like to participate in research as well. So I just want to be clear that I am for safe medications. I am for the right to try for terminal diseases. And the funding and the implementation of this center will expedite and greatly increase clinical trials to test the safety and effectiveness of medicinal cannabis. Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I move passage of House Bill 604 as amended by Committee Sub 1.